Okay, hey guys, happy Friday here. We are, this is a little after 1 o'clock here on the 20th. I'm a little behind schedule. I've had trouble with my machine here. I suspect my hard drive is getting full. Just so much video content. So I'm not absolutely even positive this is gonna play ball with me here, but we'll give it a try. Okay, so if not, I've got another machine to work with. Okay, so let me. I've been back and forth here. I didn't think this was going to work, and now all of a sudden it's starting to work. Okay, so let's just a quick review, right? This is, oh shit, that's all right, wrong one. This is where we were last week, right? So we looked at this last week, and we were just approaching this internal golden zone, right? The idea being, well, it's potentially right that threat, but if we break, where's the right next golden zone just above, which is exactly what we've done. So we've got this pretty good rip here. Now we're in a couple of times. Now, I'm assuming I don't need to really dwell on this, right? I've covered it, I don't know, 10,000 times, right, over the last 4 or 5 years. So we know what's happening there, right? It's just software. Now, some people are going to give you, let's go to the daily, right? Different reasons, right? Oh, it's the 200. We're clearing the 200. It's, I mean, you can come up with any reason you want, right? But, I mean, if you follow my work, right, this is a gift from David Halsey, right? Identifying this algorithm. I didn't discover it, but I certainly can recognize it, which is why I teach it. So here we sit, right? Just now, it kind of looks like risk on today. Although I wouldn't read too much into what's happening in the S&P today, right? It's options expiration, so you've just got it's a lot of manipulation, right? So based on where dealers have exposure. So I wouldn't read a whole lot into that, but it does kind of lend itself to this new kind of risk-on thinking. Well, okay, so again, our objective here, let's remember, our objective is not to be right about anything. It's not to be right about an Elliott count or where the market's going to stop. Our objective is to be profitable. Let's not lose track of that. Okay, so right, wrong, who gives a fuck, right? What matters? Who's making money? So when I say that, I don't mean to be harsh, but it's not. An Elliott count. What we're doing, it's not about who's right, who's wrong, who got the count right. It's who's making money, right? Who's losing money. That's all this is about. So for example, when I say things like I did last week, saying, okay, well, but I sure as hell wouldn't buy it there. That's not about right, wrong. That's about risk management. So the point being, right? I mean, of course he could break, right? I mean, there have to be breaks all the time, or we go sideways forever. Of course these break. That's not the point. The point is, this would be a poor, in my view, right? So if I take that for what it's worth, this would be a poor location for entry because the risk is too high. Why would you buy? Well, I don't want to say it that way. I think if you study this enough, you would recognize that while sure it can get through, that's never what we're saying. Well, it's definitely going to stop there. That's never what we're saying. We're saying just from a risk perspective, that's a high risk location. And I can say the exact same thing right here. Okay, could it break? Of course. Look what happened last week, right? We went from, what did we go? Almost $2,000, right? A damn near. Right? So of course it can break. It sure looks like it wants to break, but does that change the risk profile here? Does that make sense to buy right into that resistance? I don't know how you would see. You look at it and you go, okay, well, if you do it and you get away with it, okay, I mean, you're thrilled, right? Shit, maybe we'll go up to that next pivot here. You get another, it's damn near $4 or $5 right? Okay, you're making money. My strong counsel to you, or anyone who listens here who gives a shit about what I say, is that this is, again, I've been doing this for a long time. If you buy it here and get away with it, all that's going to happen is you're going to do it every time. Right now, it's going to be, so what happens now? You're a breakout trader. All right, well, screw 10,000 examples of that being solid resistance. Forget that. I'm a breakout trader. So, okay, well, if you're a breakout trader, where's your target, right? You could use the prior pivot. Okay, there's a good pivot. All right, now what are you going to use for your stop, right? You got to look at it this way. Say, okay, well, I could use something. Oh shit, here, let's do this. I could do it this way. I'll just use the last pivot here, and we'll. Am I in log? Oh, I'm not in log here, so we could do it that way. And you could say, okay, there's my. Oh, what shit? What are we getting there? Oh, no, I'm sorry. My entry would have to be here, right there. Okay, so I can get my 2 to 1 right there. Okay, so you can get your 2 to 1 there. Look below. Okay, you're buying into a pretty hot RSI. Now RSI can stay hot, right? But it's more. You got to look at this just in terms of probabilities. We're never saying, or I rephrase, right? Or me, or anyone on my team, any one of the other guys that promote here that work with me that teach these same ideas. We're never saying that. Well, this sure as hell can't break. It's never going to break. That's never what we're saying. It's just about risk control. So from a price action perspective, okay, maybe you can get this, but then when it gets here, right? Do you just recreate the same thing here? You're going to do the same thing here. Okay, well, we broke through that one. Well, so wouldn't the logic be, well, we can certainly get to the next one. So now you're trying to break here. You're trying to get to that pivot. Okay, I mean, maybe Bitcoin's just going to keep going in a straight line, right? If any asset can do it, it would be Bitcoin. That we're going to go from 15 and change to 30. So we're going to make a, well, again, look, right? Straight vertical move. It's not that it can't happen. It's just the odds of that are, I think you're going to find yourself really regretting trying to approach the market that way. I mean, now this is, my approach to the market is off of 30 years of doing this. What I would propose to you is if it's going to break, rather than take the high risk, right? So if you do it, remember, you're going to be you're going to be clenched the whole time. Like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Right. Because everybody on the planet, and I mean everybody, knows their stops here, 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 right? Everybody knows that, right? That's not a secret. We know where the liquidity is. So you make yourself vulnerable to this kind of push up, grab all that liquidity, and then you just get crushed, right? That's why you don't want, well, I would encourage you to be very careful if you're doing that. And you certainly wouldn't want to do it and just, well, let's see what happens. There has to be a more of a strategic plan to it, which is what my suggestion would be. And again, take it for what it's worth. It's only 30 years of doing this, right? Let it break. Right now, what you want to find out, because I promise you this is what the rest of the market's going to want to do. Test. Okay. Well, right. So you can see it. Oh boy, that prior resistance. Yeah, we got through here. This is a perfect golden zone. We're back to a golden. Okay, we're through. But if we can get through, maybe we bump into the next, just pivot. Maybe we go a little higher, and they do the same thing here, right? Grab all the liquidity, because there are 0 people on the planet who don't know there's a shitload of stops there. 0. So, right, you could almost see a path here to how retail is going to potentially could get worked here, right? Now, again, I don't know. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but this would be an equally, let me say it this way, high risk location to enter the market, right? You're saying that we're just going to go in a straight line, right? Without any retrace, without any profit taking. So rather would make more sense from a risk management to let these breaks happen. Now, of course, you risk the thing running away from you, right? We have to accept that in our approach to risk control. But if we get these breaks, right? So you allow the liquidity grabs here, right? So you can almost just anticipate here. Okay, who's going to be shorting here, right? Who's going to be buying here? Right. Well, most retail traders don't even, they've never heard of a golden zone. Now, maybe they've heard some, maybe not, right? So maybe they don't recognize how this algorithm works, right? So the odds are that this is likely to be retail, right? Retail loves to be long, and they'll take breakouts, right? They tend to be breakout traders, right? It's it's taught early on. So you can see the breakout here, then they all get uncomfortable. I'll say that. We don't know if they're going to get stopped out or not, but certainly that would be a pretty good fall. Let's say they're uncomfortable, and we'd come right back here. Now, what you'll find is that the people that took the breakout, and again, I'm not forecasting the future here. I'm just giving you a scenario here just so you can think twice about this. If we go up and then they bring it back down, you say, well, prior resistance becomes support. What is retail likely to do here? Oh my God, right? So if they take the breakout here, now, you know, again, we can't make generalizations here, but it would be retail. It would be typical of retail to say, oh, well, if it went this far, oh, it'd probably keep going. All right, and then as it starts to come back down, oh shit, oh, what happens right here? Oh, I can get out at break even. What's the next thing that happens? Right, and then what would we have just completed there? Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so this is it's much like here, right? Would you want to buy into that 50? Well, maybe not, right? So you wait and see. If we retrace here, do we hold and get a higher low? Which we do, right? Oh, do I get a higher high? Oh, can I break that internal golden zone? Yep, I did. Okay, where's the next target? Next golden zone, right? We've learned that. I mean, again, I don't know, 10, 15,000 examples. I think anyone watching here, certainly members, understand this is how the market moves. It's not, you've heard me say this many, many times, it's not why it moves, it's how it moves. Wouldn't that just be perfect, right? So then you'd be back here looking at this count going, well, that count was completely ass backwards, right? I mean, a count is just a snapshot, a possible roadmap, moment in time. By the way, we're not done here, right? We don't know that this is going to clear all this, right? We're still sitting in the golden zone. You do, just a suggestion, I would encourage you not to assume they're going to break. Assume they're going to hold, right? Or at the very least, don't ever assume there's not going to be a reaction there, right? So as you tag it, there's the reaction. Now, can we get through? Well, you'd be relabeling this here, and which is where we're headed next. But this is, oh God, talk about a poor location for entry, right? Just as this one was. And you say, well, hey, it got through, man. It got through. Look, you left that on the table. Yeah, but I understood that at that moment in time when I said, well, shit, I'm not buying it there. I'm quite comfortable letting that go, because if we come back down here to test this, well, maybe I'll rethink that. Maybe that's can you see how that's just from a risk control basis, right? It's just I would propose to you, right? My opinion, it's a smarter way to approach risk management. So if we come back down, oh, where are we here? We're into all that prior resistance. Oh, we broke through. Let's come back and test it. Now, see, now I'm coming here from a golden, going into a golden. Here, now I can go into it with house money, right? I've got all of this gain here. So if I get rejected, at least I'm doing it with house money rather than waiting till we get here and go, oh, it's going to break. I know it's going to break. I'm positive. Why would you? Because you're long, right? I would assume it won't get there. Never see. We do this. It's very common, right? It's just human nature. We're going to fill in the blanks, right? We're going to fill in. Oh, I know where that's going. We're going to break that. We're going to go get that negative 100, right? We're going to get a 1, 2, 3, 4, an extension in the 5th because I'm long. That's why. Well, maybe. I just would encourage you to. I would just again, a lot of years of doing this. This is a poor location to enter. Doesn't mean you couldn't make money there. I'm just from a risk management perspective. I think you're over time will find that this is a poor way to approach the market. If it's going to break, let it come back and test, then go. Right? Again, think about the risk control. Right? If you're buying it here, and let's say your target is up here at call it 26. Right? So now I can do something like this. I can get 4 to 1. I want to give it a little bit more. We come back down here. Let's say you did something like this. You thought, oh, well, we had this little consolidation here. Excuse me. So we had this little consolidation here. So if well, here's a volume profile. Shit, you can't really see it, but fuck here. You can see it, right? So it's right here. You can see the volume profile as we've stalled here. Would make sense, right? So we're doing business here. Whoa, what are we doing? Come back to where we broke from. It starts to make more sense, right? So I can get a low risk trade here. So I can at least get 3 to 1. So if this is going to complete an impulse, 1, 2, if we're going to get a 3, 4, we're going to go for that 5. Maybe we got more here, but at least I've got a 3 to 1 here. My suggestion, right? Take it, leave it. Again, when you've been doing this for 30 years, right, you probably have your own ideas. But listen, trust me, when I say that, this doesn't mean I don't make stupid mistakes. Jesus, I had one of the worst weeks trading the S&P I think I've had it in recent memory. I just could not get on the right side. Every time I added size, I was on the wrong side of it. So, but we're all vulnerable. What you have to be really mindful of is when you recognize, as I did, I was just a little off with the market here. You can get out of sync with it. So what you remember, we fill in the blanks. So you see a retracement, you think it's going to go here. You're in your mind's eye. You're already doing this. So it's tempting to say, okay, I see it's happening, and this is what I was doing. I was pushing with size. Okay, if we can get through it, I'm gonna add here, right? So I'm gonna add for the extra juice that I can get here because I know I'm right. Careful, right? It's just it's a humbling experience to have an off week, right? You just remind yourself of nobody knows, right? We just do the best we can, and ultimately, what does it come down to? Money management. That's the name of the game, right? The name of the game is stay in the game. Okay, let's get off of this here. I think I made that point there. So what are we doing here? Well, if this is going to be our low, which we don't know, but if this is the low, well, whoa. And let's assume, just for the sake of discussion, let's assume we break here. Now, right, where's the next one? We got a ways to go, right? And this is secondary, right? That's not the dominant, right? The dominant's way the hell way up here, right? So if we break to go here, right, now we have the full, now next target's 35. Wow, if we're hitting 35, well, it's game on. Risk, right? Certainly. So we shall see, right? This would be, that's not likely, right? That we're just going to go straight line. Again, if any asset could do it, it would be Bitcoin. But it would seem more likely if we're going to do this here as a 1, 2, okay, if we're going to get a 3, 4, 5, okay, well that's, are we going to assume this? Maybe not, right? That might be too much. But 1, right? Can we get a good 1 here? Okay, well let's get our 2 and then the big 3, right? Now we could have something we could really, bulls can sink their teeth into. But to do that, right, so if assuming you want to apply some Elliott Wave, well, can we get rules and guidelines here to give us a good finish here? It sure does look like we're going to have to finish it in a 3, right? Just as it looked like we were, and it's still, right, still may. If it's going to be 3, 4, and we're going to come down for the 5, right, as we had laid this out to finish this diag here, but oh shit, this would be up here now. Maybe, right? It's a whole lot of maybe. Well, so, okay, let's let them, so first, right, okay, this is encouraging, right? So don't feel like, oh my God, Bitcoin's moving. We're over 21. I got to get on. I got to jump in, right? Because then you're going to do exactly what I was just suggesting, right? Well, here would be the high risk area for longs, right? Let it clear, come back. All right, so how are we going to get there? Okay, so we got to rethink this. Now we've dabbled with some of these along the way. What is it, right? Is it A, B, C? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's been, and you never know, right? Now we still don't know, but we want to be prepared. Okay, if the low's in, well, I got to work backwards. How can I get this done? Well, I think this is a reasonable count, and again, I think we've had variations of this along the way. Shit, we've been correcting for over a year, but this does make sense here. So we can go an ABC into a W, ABC into an X, ABC into a Y, ABC into the second X, A, B, C into the final Z. Okay, well, if we're done here, let's just put, oh shit, what have I got? I don't have enough room on here. But if we're done here, well, this would be a candidate for a pivot of a 2, right? From the, do I have it? I think I might. Let's see here if I've got enough history. I'm on BitGet, right? This is our trading exchange. So if we're going to go here, well, we would have come, that's pretty good, actually. If on the, shit here, I'm going to label this here. On the assumption we've got this is the 1. Now, there are certainly Elliott counts that this is being the COVID low that have alternates here. And we've looked at some, right? One of them, right, we've looked at many times is that this is an A, B, C, although right now this is starting to look a little bit more like, okay, we might be able to sink our teeth into Oh, you can do this a couple of different ways here. A, B, C. Ah, shit, I don't think it matters. I think you could just do it this way. And so, but what matters? Swing low to swing high. We're right to the 50, right? And where would we be looking for the 2? Right there, right? So it'd be right by the playbook, although this has been really a challenging. And again, let's be clear here. We don't know this is the count at the moment, right? Now, if I get a 5 here, it's going to start to look more encouraging for bulls. Now, I'm as I've said many times over the years, I'm not one to short Bitcoin, right? I'm a perma bull. I'm always long. My holdings are safe, sound, and sitting in their cold wallet here, and I have no intention to sell them. Well, probably will them. I have no intention to ever sell them, right? If I need liquidity, I'll borrow against it. So I'm just long and strong and holding, right? You can't shake me out of this. I don't give a shit. We can break this low. I'm not getting out, right? I'm a believer. So call me silly, stupid, overly zealous about this technology. I think it's evolution, period. It's as simple as that. I think it's just the evolution of money. And so it's just not a matter of if, just a matter of when we're breaking these highs, and these will look quaint, right? So we can see here from the COVID low, well, lo and behold, what do I have here? I have a measured move that's potentially, right, teed up to go, we got there, 130, 140-ish, 140. Oh, I saw some projections this week here, 160, we're just using some fib, doing it a little bit differently than I do it, but there's some bullish counts out there. And there's still well, I won't even go there. It's the most hated count, right? This could be a 4 and we're going up for the 5. I don't think that matters, right? So question is, well, if we're coming out of this, okay, if this is going to be a 1 and oh shit, I don't just like that. Let's get you set back here. Okay, WXYXZ, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what's the key piece here? I need that 5. And even still, this could get... It doesn't completely clear, right? So if you're an Elliottician, so one of the things is the better you get, you'll start looking at things like this, and you'll say, well, let's say I got that. Does that completely blow out any possibility that we're going back down again? Well, of course not. So you can look at it and say, boy, there's a possible expanded, right, flat here, right, with the expanded B here that might send us back down. Maybe, right? You can work you can get a 5 in there. So it couldn't be a 1, 2, but there's variations here that could have this finishing and then heading down, right, with something like this, and then down to revisit the lows. But that's one impulse at a time, right? So is this an impulse? Well, we don't know for sure, right? We can't say that, right? Until we clear over here, we can't say. We've got to have the 4, 5. So we sit kind of going, all right, well, if you didn't buy it earlier, right, this would not be an ideal, right, in my view, right? The risk is high here to be a buyer. If we pop and come back, right, I like that all the more. I would look there, right? I try and separate short-term trading capital from long-term holding capital, right? So for that short-term trading capital here, the 4 to the 5 here, if we come, so just as we laid it out, if we come back here, you can see the alert I have set right there. So if we come back, if we get through, first alert me if we get through, and then if we come back down, that's a trade that would make sense to me, right? Very contained risk, right? Clear risk control, got a clear target. I'm not shooting for new highs, right? Because what's your anticipation, right? You're trying to get 4 into the 5, right? After that completes, what's the expectation, right? So why take all that drawdown? But that's the big one, right? So if we can get this one here, so if first let's complete the 5, let's get a 3, right? Do we? Maybe we do, right? Right, so you can, if you're patient, see this happened. Right? I'm vulnerable to this as well, right? So I love trading, right? I love the puzzle, and if I think I see something, my part of my challenge as a trader here is over trading, right? 2, one is I love to try and pick the turn, right? So I've had years of trying to fight that impulse, right? Pardon the impulse terminology here, but that's an impulse, right? It's an impulsive move. It's an impulse. I see it. I got it. I want to trade it, right? It's taken me a long time to get my hand off the mouse when I start thinking that way. Knowing yourself, right? So if I can get the 5 here, because I use Elliott Wave to guide me, if I get a 5, I'm looking for the 3. Now nothing says it has to give me a 3. But if it gives me the 3, then I can take a trade here that I'm not uncomfortable with, right? I sure as hell could get stopped out. But at least I've followed my methodology. Right? I haven't been impulsive. I haven't tried to do anything because I didn't want to miss the turn. I've tried to maintain that discipline. Pick your spots. So if you can get 1 here, 4 to 5, great. Right? You want to be more aggressive, right? It's our purple belt, right? You're going to trade. Well, in this case, you'd have missed this one, but you could trade the 3 of the 5, right? So you can, here, if I could do it this way, you can get the 3 of the 5 here. So you can get this one, and then you can get the C's, right? 3s and C's, right? That's all you can trade if you want to pass your purple belt, right? You got to do it 50 times, and you don't have to be profitable. You just have to show us those trades. Right? Ideally, we'd like to see you be profitable. Can you do it? Right? You can do it sim or live money. It's up to the individual. We have some do it in live, some do it in sim. So 3s and C's, can you do that? Well, if you're sitting right here, what are you trading? Will you be trading the 1 of the 3? That would be valid. You could trade the internal 3 of the 5, right? That would be valid. You could trade the 3 of the C, and that would be valid, right? There's lots of little 3s and C's you can trade. What would we have here if we get this, right? And of course, we don't have this yet, but trying to put something together here. And we're going to do that, right? Get a golden corner up to the upper, that would be a 1618. Now we're at 61, right? So a whole lot of things have to go right for Bitcoin before that's going to happen. So let's slow down here. We're still over here. We haven't even broken the golden zone. But it is kind of fun to start modeling that out, saying, well, if, right? Let's be prepared for it. If this happens, if we get this break and we can now lean into the idea, okay, we've got a candidate, right? It does not guarantee it. It's a candidate for a 3 to pull back into the 4. We can trade the 5, wait for the 2. Right, so there it is. Now, it'll be interesting to see where we are a week from now, right? Do we get this, or do we just roll over and we're back to thinking, well, 4 held it, right? So we're going back down to finish the 5 here, and then the whole process starts again. Literally, the whole process would just move over, right? The whole thing would just move over. Oh, okay, we thought we had it here. Nope, wrong, right? Our objective is not to be right, it's to be profitable, right? So, right, if you got to decide, right? If you want to try and go for that, if you're going to go for it, okay, well, have at it. We'll wish you luck. I think that's a mistake over time, right? You're reinforcing a bad habit. Okay, shit, have I got everything? Oh, well, I think, I had 2 other things to show you. One, here, I'll pop over to the ES, right? So we had looked at this last week as well. And same kind of thing, right? As it's coming up. Now, this is really common because as it's rallying, what happens to us, right? It's very easy to get sucked into the, what do I want to say? The media, right? So whether it's whomever you get your financial news from, I tend to like Bloomberg. So all the talking heads that are on all week, all bullish, right? Well, soft landing, inflation's coming down. Everybody's bullish. So it gets really, this is why you need to have these kind of tools and a methodology surrounding them. So when we get right here, and I talked about this last week, you're like, oh, God damn, I guess I was wrong. Because we're going to blow right through, right? So you've been, geez, I heard it on Bloomberg today, CNBC. Oh, God, Kramer, like, oh, guy's had a remarkable career, but he's certainly got a following of people that fade him. So, right, Kramer's buy stocks, right, with plenty of time. Now, okay, right, over time, right, buying stocks has been profitable. But as we're rallying right into the golden zone, then you don't take the trade because, I saw this on Bloomberg, right, where it's game on for stocks. And so at the time when you have the lowest risk trade with the highest possible return relative to that risk, if this is going to be a 3, right? And you don't take the trade because you're afraid of it. Now, I don't know if you did or you didn't, but the point is here, and I was trying to stress this a little bit last week. The trade that you're most afraid of is often the best trade. The one that's like, oh my God, I cannot sell it. It's going straight up, man. I can't sell it. Doesn't matter how many times you've seen that golden zone be the pivot, your natural survival instincts are going to kick in and go, well, man, I can't sell it. You see, and that kind of brings us back to the whole idea is if you have a plan for this, I mean, you could use, let's use 707. Where are you? Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, shit. Hang on. Come here. Oh, yeah, I really fucked myself up here. I'll get there. Jesus Christ. Let's just start over. Okay. All right. I lost all my mojo there. Right. So here we sit. Now let's get back to, where was I going? I was trying to get 707. That's what I was trying to get to. So it stops on the other side of the 707, right? So if this is going to be a 3, if it's going to be a 3, well, I've just got a 12.5 to 1. Now, do we know that's going to go there? Of course not, right? But we can put together a count that would suggest, well, that's not okay, I want a 30, I want a 12 to 1, so I'm just going to fire that up. No, this is very precise, right? That's precise now. This is the benefit, right? This is one of the pluses, right? Although there certainly are weaknesses. This is in negatives. This is one of the pluses to Elliott Wave, right? So we get wave relationships that are proven to be reliable over time. Of course, that doesn't mean that every wave 3 goes. Right? This is the most common, right? Highest probability location for a wave 3. So 1, 2. Now, do you note here the exact same thing is happening today? Now, I would not read much in today's price action for the S&P, right? It's all about option expiration, right? It's all that's happening, right? So as we sit here now, let's go to the 4-hour. Right, so you have this trade here that we looked at last week. Okay, so you got that one, right? It's 12 to 1. Well, here we come back up here. So we've left, right? So you see here as we tapped into the golden zone, we've left behind a nice big fat order block, and then so this is Sonar Labs, right? You guys, I forget to mention this, right? So we work closely with them. So you're going to get your market structure, and then you can get your order blocks here, and here's the swing low. So we've got all of the tools here that Sonar Labs offers to us here, just so we don't have to draw them, right? They're all just done for a. Oh God, they damn near give this away. It's so reasonably priced, right? So if you're interested, oh shit, here's my promo. I forget to do it, so I gotta do it. Not much of a promoter. All right, if you're interested in their tools, right, you can go down in our link bio. It says link bio underneath this. You get a 10% kicker. Shit, you can try. I think they've got a 2-week trial. You try it. You have to know a little bit about market structure here, but use our link, you'll get a 10% discount. Okay, there's my promo for the week. Okay, so now we sit here. Now, what is the next? What's happening now? All right, let's get. Let's do that. Right. So where are we right now? Right as we finish the week. Right. Any similarity between last Friday and today? Right. So same thing. Right. Oh man, I can't sell that. Can't sell that. It's risk on, man. We're going now. You could make a case here if we go from the absolute low. Right here, you bagged a 50. So do you see we're in a little box here? This is very, very common, right? In fact, most of the day, right? If you're a day trader, depending on the time frame, this is what you deal with almost all day, every day, right? We just get stuck one side or the other. So you have to pick a side. Well, who's got the advantage here? Well, that's actually not very hard. Let's go back to daily here. Who's got the advantage? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower. Right? It's not hard to pick who's the favorite to win here, but by all means, that does not mean that we couldn't do that. Right? Of course, right? There's no obligation for the market to ever do anything ever. Right? Market's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to find locations where, okay, can I get in here with some methodology, some technique here that's proven to be profitable over time? And can I get in here with a low degree of risk so that I could position myself to make more when I'm right than I'm going to lose when I'm wrong? And I know for a fact I'm going to be wrong more than I'm right, because everybody is. I don't care what they tell you, right? You can have a good year, and your hedge fund manager has a great year over time, right? But they don't see it doesn't matter, right? It's not about being right? Where did I start? It's about being profitable. And if you're consistently looking for trades like this, where you can set up 3 to 1, even a 2 to 1, I'll take a 2 to 1. often in the options market, right? That's the best you can hope for, particularly if you're a seller, and that might be 1 to 2. I will take the odds here as long as I can get, I can at least make twice of what I'm going to make. I can make twice what I'm going to lose when I'm wrong, right? So ideally you get 3 to 1 because then you have more cushion here to offset all those losers. Where we get, it's saying as old as time, right? You can have lots of small losers. You're going to have small winners. You dream of the big winner, right? Which is hard to do, right? It's just hard to let it run. Just keep your hands off of it. The only thing you can't have, big losers. It's so easy to say, right? It's incredibly easy to say. Oh, okay, I'm going to get in the market, and I'm not going to allow for any big losers, right? And then your ego gets involved, and then you don't want to get stopped out, and then you're sure you saw it on Bloomberg, man. It's all systems go here. I heard Kramer talking about it. He was buy, right? So nothing complicates and is more emotional. Well, I'd put it in the top 2 than money, right? It's nothing more emotional, right? It'd make you act irrationally. Oh, how long? Get stopped out a few times, then it's revenge trading, then it's God damn it, those fuckers. And it's always those fuckers, right? They're the ones doing it to you. No, my friend. Everything that we do here is all self-inflicted, right? Setting up the right trade, letting it run, you did that. Letting a loser get away from you, that's you. Right? It's always you. This is the one good thing we can say. You're not in control of how the market moves, obviously, right? But you're in control of how you respond to it, and you're in control of managing the risk. Right? We do, it's as chaotic as this all is, right? And as difficult it is to try and predict where it's going, which nobody can do. Nobody can do it, right? So all we're trying to do is say, well, this is a possible path. At the end of the day, name of the game is stay in the game. Well, so speaking of predictions, right? I'm going to wrap up here. Since ChatGPT is the talk of the fucking planet. I created an account and I asked where Bitcoin was going to be. I don't know if this is as helpful as this little thing over here. Right? So this has been getting some traction. So this is artificial intelligence. Kind of interesting, right? I don't have a link to give you or anything. Pricepredictions.com is kind of interesting, right? So it's that same theme of trying to do some predictive analysis based off of artificial intelligence. I would encourage you. I'm not trying to sell it to you. It's just pricepredictions.com. Kind of interesting. So if we look out here, we can go to the 30-day forecast and look out here and say, okay, well, for February 19th, that's as far as we can go. 30-day forecast puts us at 22.5. And you can look down here. Maybe you guys have seen this here. I think I saw some media here referencing it. I was like, oh, let's go look at that. Well, it's kind of interesting, right? It's trending up, trending down, and then I would encourage you to play around a little bit here. There's some interesting things happening here in terms of looking for some structure or some ranges that you might be able to work with here. So maybe next week, if there's enough interest from members or YouTube subs, we can look at some ways you could use this, take advantage of it here when all you're predicting is a 30-day range. That can be kind of interesting. Well, shit, a 7-day range or even a 24-hour range can be interesting. Apparently someone at the door. Okay, I think we got that covered here. So we did all this. We got this. We got this. I think I got everything. Okay, guys. Well, that's all I got for today. All right, so same here. I am promoting at the end of the thing as you guys all click off. All right, you can always join us, TradeDevils.com. I think everybody knows that. All our links are underneath. All of our little promotions where we can give you some advantage, those are all underneath. So you guys have yourselves a good weekend. This is going to be really interesting to see both the S&P and Bitcoin. Where we're going to be. Where we're going to be next Friday. Down here, up here. Right, be interesting. Okay, guys, have a good one. Talk to you next.